Welcome once again to the 365 Retirement Podcast with the team at Rubino and Lang Wealth Partners. My name is Randy Cook. I'm here each week with one of the members of Rubino and Lang, and we sit down and talk through some of the issues that you are probably wondering about or maybe worried about when it comes to your retirement. John Connolly is here. Now, John, you're a guy who sits down with people every single day and talks to them about their concerns. I mean, this is really what you do. Try to solve those problems, isn't it?
Yeah, we sit down with all types of different people, different stages of their lives, different net worths. And, at the end of the day, everyone has very similar concerns am I on the right track? When can I retire? I don't want to run out of money. And they're, obviously concerned about the state of affairs, especially entering an election year. So, we see a lot of different people in different phases of their life.
And one of the biggest things that is most common with everybody that come in with a 401k, that's where they have spent most of their money. And I've got an article in front of me here that talks about as financial advisors will have somebody who walks in the door and they will look at them and say, nice 401k, stop. Don't put any more money in this thing because we've heard the phrase before, it's a tax time bomb. So we put money in our 401ks and our IRAs and it's called tax deferred. So John, explain that and explain how that can be an issue later on in your retirement years.
Yeah, so tax deferral means when you put money into your 401k, you're taking money that's never been taxed in your paycheck, and it's actually going to your 401k before it's ever taxed. Uncle Sam is a great situation where they're allowing you to defer that tax. They're not letting you have that tax-free. So at some point in time, whether it's age 73, 75, depends on different age brackets, but Uncle Sam is going to come to you at some point in time and say, we've been nice enough to let you grow that money tax deferred. Today is the day that you have to start withdrawing this money to pay us that tax. It's kind of like here in Massachusetts, the Mass State tolls, the tolls that you would drive on the highways. Mm-hmm. You didn't pay the toll when you got on, you paid the toll when you got off. So at some point in time, Uncle Sam's going to have his hand out. He's going to want you to start making withdrawals to pay the tax on that money, whether you need it or you don't.
So the danger here, of course, is you don't need that money. You get to age 73 or later it's going to be age 75. You start taking that money out and they tell you how much you got to take out, and that pushes you into a higher tax bracket. It might lower your Social Security because you're taxed more, or it might raise your Medicare because you're making more income. I mean, there's a lot of downside to this of maybe you should be looking at what we refer to as a conversion of taking that money from your IRA and your 401k and moving it over to a Roth. Explain that process and why that can help.
Yeah, so if you've done a good job and you've saved a lot of money in your IRAs, maybe it would start off as a 401k, then once you stop working, it was rolled over to an IRA. And you have all this money that's building up and it's growing, and over time, you have to be forced to take the required minimum distribution. What we want to look at with each client of ours or even prospects is to look at it and say, can you do a Roth conversion? So a Roth conversion, a lot of people weren't able to contribute to a Roth during their working years because they may have made too much money to contribute to a Roth because of the limitations. So now here they are, they want to get money into their Roth, and that's done by doing a conversion. So that is taking money that's in an IRA, we pay the taxes now at your current tax rate and roll it over into or convert it into a Roth IRA. Moving forward, after 5 years, those Roth IRAs will never be taxable again on the growth or even on distributions from them. So it's a powerful tool to now go from a tax deferral. You're going to pay it at today's tax rate versus maybe a higher tax rate down the road. Every person's a little bit different, so you have to go through the process. But now we got that money into tax-free money moving forward.
So one of the upsides of the 401k is usually the employer does some kind of a match. So if you look at somebody and say, stop, don't put any more money in that 401k, my response is, well, what about the match? So if you're talking about doing this while I'm still working, how do we get around that?
Well, you want to make sure that you get the match and so forth, but you might even want to sit down with your advisor and look at your tax situation. It might be more appropriate for you if your company offers, and more companies are offering the Roth portion of the 401k, where you're going to pay the tax now as if you earned it going into the Roth, but moving forward, it will never be taxed moving forward. So we want to make sure that we're looking at what your 401k allows. Is there a Roth component to it? If we're doing a Roth component, you're still going to get the company match. You're still going to contribute. We don't want people to just stop contributing into their retirement accounts, but we want to make sure that we look at it in a smart way of tax efficiency. So if you think, hey, down the road, I've built up so much money into my 401k and my IRA, when I retire, those withdrawals are going to put me in a higher tax bracket than maybe what I'm in today. So you might want to pay the tax today and use that Roth portion of your contribution into the 401k. Here we are moving into an election cycle, and one of the things that we're looking at with our clients is like each administration, how's this going to affect our clients down the road after this election is decided? And one of the things we're really taking a look at is the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that were enacted in 2018 when Donald Trump was the president. Those are set to expire at the end of 2025. So we can assume your individual tax rates will be going up in the future. So we want to start taking advantage of maybe looking at Roth conversions in the final months here of 2024 into 2025, trying to take advantage of lower rates today than what they may be in the future. Then we want to look at even beyond that is, what is your future tax rate going to be based on what may happen? All of a sudden, your RMDs, you may be in the 22% bracket today, but your RMDs may throw you into a 25% tax bracket. How are we going to combat that? How are we trying to put you in the most effective position moving forward with your tax strategies? Picking the right funds, invest in the right portfolio, and putting it in the proper risk tolerance is all important. But it's often not if you're not really taking some serious time and coming up with tax cutting strategies for you and your family to make sure that you put you in the most tax efficient place possible.
Yeah, I saw a pie chart, and it said, here's where every retiree's dollar goes as they spend. And I was shocked to find out that 30% of that pie chart, a really big chunk, went to taxes. It's literally the number one expense in retirement. You think it's going to be travel or your housing or your food or your transportation, all it's taxes. And we need, it's because everybody's going into retirement with that great big 401k. And this is what we're talking about today. Sit down with John and the team at Rubino & Lang Wealth Partners, and let's figure out, are you coming into your retirement with a huge 401k, and this could be a problem for you? Let's get a jump on that and start to do some of these conversions ahead of time to put you in a better position in your 70s. Give us a look online. It's 365retirement.com, 365retirement.com. There's a button up in the upper right-hand corner. It says Talk to an Advisor. Click on that. There's actually a calendar that opens up, and you can find a time and a date that's good for you, and we'll start with a phone call. We can do a Zoom meeting with you. However you want to start, let's at least get your questions out on the table and see if we can help you. Again, 365retirement.com for the team at Rubino & Lang Wealth Partners. We thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time here on the 365 Retirement Podcast.